So
Right,
that
right, right.
that was my whole approach. Now let me ask you, to get off of that, let me ask you this B dot situation, is this gonna happen? He's saying he don't want to come back two big rooms. I seen an interview with you and A Ward. I think you said ideally that's where you would want to do it at. So where do we come to a middle ground if y'all actually make this battle happen, you versus B Dot?
Well, I told ARP because I think ARP wanted it to happen this year. And I told him that I didn't want to do a closed room situation, that I wanted it, you know, for this one with ARP, I told him that for my contract, I also wanted it to be like, yo, this is my last one. If I take another one, he can take me to court and take my deposit and my back end if I do another one. Right. So, then I owed him that, right? Like, because me and you, like, I was supposed to take one with him before me and you, but it
Yeah.
just it didn't kind of happen that way. I was touring. I did like 4 tours that year. So I couldn't like physically do it. So he was after our joint. He was like, "Yo, you owe me one because you gave me your word." And I was like, "Yeah, I did give you my word." So he wanted me to do one this year, and I was like, "I really don't want to do these joints that you're doing. I don't want to do these joints that you're doing in these rooms that you're doing them in, or like a screen. But I don't want to do that. Like if I do it, I want it to be like at least 200, 300 people there." And it doesn't have to be in New York. Obviously, he's in Atlanta. So, like, it'll be neutral ground for me and Dot.
Yeah.
I don't know what Dot's situation is with URL, but I let him know, like, that's what I wanted. And I don't want it to be like 2,000, 1,500 people. I want it to at least be a crowd there, though. But he, I don't know. I don't know what Dot's thinking. I don't know how he's feeling. But that was my initial conversation with ARP. That's why it didn't happen this year. So, yeah.
Okay, okay. Yo, on another note, let's talk about, cause yo, you know what's so crazy? This shit brought me back to like the '90s. I had did that Once Upon a Time in America song,
Mm-hmm.
and Rain hit me at like 12 at night, and he was like, "Yo, your man is wildin'." So I'm like, "Who's my man?" He like, "Yo, so he just sends me the joint." So I'm like, "Oh, this is a Mickey Factz song." He like, "Yeah," and then when I heard it, he's like, so he calls me back like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Yo, that shit is crazy." So
Mm-hmm.
now I didn't catch it, and I think he said that you was the only, and this is before it was actually released. He said you was
Mm-hmm.
that I think he was the only one you said, and somebody else, it might have been Black Door, that was the only ones to catch that you did the song A without actually using the
The
word
letter
A
A.
in the song.
Right. Yeah. So
So
I.
I just want to know because I seen it. Like I think it was on your Instagram or an interview or something where you said the thought process of it, but just let people know if y'all didn't go check it out. It's on iTunes now. The song is called A. It's
A
crazy.
minus. So that record, like, uh, in 2020, early 2017, when me and Lupe, we started like the school for lyricism, where we teach different ways to rap. Right. He gave me this book, and the book was called Avoid,
Hmm.
and the book is about um like where did the letter E go, right? Like
Hmm.
where the letter E is lost in this book, but there's no E in the entire book. So I was like, yo, that'd be a dope concept for a song, right? But that was like 2017. So then fast forward to me in 2020 during COVID, I was on a Zoom call and my son he kept pressing the letter A when I was on my iPad. So I was like, yo, this is crazy. Let me write a song for my son. So I wrote like a kid song, uh, like about the letter A for my son. And then I was like, I was working on a project. I was like, yo, why don't I write a song about the letter A without using the letter A? And it took me like 4 hours to write. And
Mm.
as I'm writing it, I'm like, yo, this is crazy because now there's bars in it. I'm talking, I'm breaking down the shit, and I'm just like, yo, this is wild. So I call the producer and I let him know, and nigga, he's like, that's impossible, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna record it. I recorded it, and then as I'm listening to it, I'm like, yo, this is like really really crazy. So I start sending it to people. I just start sending it to mad people. And people, you know, obviously when people hear it, they're like, "Oh, this is a dope record." Like you talking about the letter A, and then it's the after effect where it's like, "Yo, there's no A in the song," and the niggas is like, "You lying?" And they re-listen and like, "Yo, this is unbelievable," right? So I sent it to Black Thought. He heard it. And he was like, "Yo, this is unbelievable. I want to get on it." You know what I mean? And I was like, I bet. He was like, I'm gonna do a remix to it. So I was like, oh, that's fire. So he writes it and he sends it to me. He sends me his verse about the letter A without using the letter A. Like he was the only one. I sent it to everybody. The only people that really didn't get it was like Kendrick, Eminem, Sean, like those type of niggas. But everybody that's rhymes got the shit and they heard it and they was just like, this is. But he was the only one who heard it and was like, yo, I want to get on it. So he wrote it, but he never recorded it for whatever reason. I guess he got caught up. He never recorded it. But yeah, I mean, to me, you know, that was one of those.
To me, I feel like that's what it's about. I feel like in 2020, that's the level, nigga. That's the level we should all be pushing to get to. Like we shouldn't be digressing, and that's why I said I love the COVID era because I felt like I was in a catch-22. You know what I'm saying? URL tells you, you know, for Gnome Summer Madness, you get paid this. You go to Born Legacy, you know what I'm saying, you get this. Now it's all the same because the room never changes, so the bread is the same. And I feel like that's the same thing in hip hop. You get told, well, you know, if you want to get on the radio, then you got to do this. If you want to go viral, you got to do this. And it's like, nah, man. Like I feel like that right there that's the standard. Like everybody should be aiming. That's if you claim that you really hip hop or you're a lyricist, you should be aiming to do some shit that's never been done before. Because when I seen you writing it, I just felt like, because I was watching on Twitter, I'm like, all right, this nigga got a dope record. But I'm like, you know, we all hype ourselves up. You like, yeah, this shit is crazy. This shit is next level. So I was already in tune with it. But then when Rain sent it, I'm like, oh, this is what he was talking about. So I think I hit you, and I was like, yo, this shit is crazy.
Yeah, you did. You hit me. It was like, yo, this is wild.
That shit is next level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy. I'm happy I was kind of able to kind of add to hip hop's legacy in terms of putting something down that nobody's done before. Like I think that's important for us as MCs to kind of set that standard, right? Like I think that's imperative. You know what I mean?
Nah, that's